Hello, everybody. My name is Luis Rodriguez, Wella Color Charm top artist, and I'm super excited to be here with you sharing the 101 Wella Color Charm class. And today we're also going to be sharing with you a little bit of a comparison chart for those of you who are currently using Kate as professionals and are going to transition to Wella Color Charm. And so, if you have, at any point, if you have any questions, please make sure to go to the chat box. And welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. So let's get started. Let's go over the agenda. As you can see today in our agenda, we have our objective, the brand history. We're also going to be talking about level and tone, which means how to read Wella Color Charm and how to understand it. We're going to be talking about Wella Color Charm permanent hair color, demi-permanent hair color, as well as the conversion chart from Cadis to Wella Color Charm. I'm going to share a little bit of information on how to talk to your clients when you're going through the transition. I mean, we can make this a conversation, and then we'll end up with educational resources. And so, with that said, let's go to the next slide. Okay, so our objective. In this class, you will have a knowledge overview of Wella Color Charm brands, understand the usage, the benefits, when to use what, and learn how to offer appropriate color services to suit your needs, and how to successfully and confidently convert your clients to Wella Color Charm. And so here we're going to talk a little bit about the history. We've been, or Wella Color Charm has been in the business for 64 years. We are experts in designing color. We've been established since 1957. And our hair color line, it's consumer friendly, but designed for professionals. It's fade resistant. It's very versatile. You can use it in a bowl and brush or a bottle, and it's intermixable, so you can recreate different shades and create your own, if you like, which I love about that. Now we're gonna go into the portfolio categories. I see some messages here. Let me go ahead and see what's going on really quickly. Hello, thank you for this class, says Shauna. Oh, thank you. Did discuss Kata's Marla just not carrying the line. Okay, yes, we're gonna talk about that. Don't worry. Please let us know if you have any questions. Yes, I saw I have Marlo and I have Elsa supporting me, asking your questions in the chat box. And if at any point there's a question that you really need me to answer and I haven't covered it, please go off mute or raise your hand and we'll get to it, okay? So the portfolio categories, we have permanent color, we also have demi-permanent color, we have toners, and we're not going to be going into details today, but Wella Color Charm also has semi-permanent color, fashion colors, and lighteners. Today we're going to be covering permanent, demi-permanent, and we'll breeze through the toners as well. And so the permanent color gives you great coverage, shade matching. It's great for color retouch, the change of tone of natural hair. And the demi-permanent color gives you great blending, color refresh, and enhancing. It also deposits color, so you can use it maybe to create low lines. Also, it's great for a gloss or to get rid of unwanted warm tones as a toner as well. And so the toners are great for neutralizing or correcting color. They get rid of unwanted warm tones. It's great to apply it on pre-lightened hair. And it gives you natural, beautiful blonde shades. And it's also great to enhance the blonde tonalities. Okay, so in terms of developers, Wella Color Charm, oh, let, in terms of developers, Wella Color Charm provides a permanent cream developer, clear developer, and we also have an activating lotion for the demi-permanent color. And you can also use it, this is a pro tip, with our toners as well. If you want to go in with kind of like a lower volume developer. So the cream developer, you can use it with the permanent color, with the gel, permanent gel color, the toners, and also the Wella Color Charm lighteners. We have the cream developer, which is great for bowl and brush. And we also have the clear developer, which is great for when you want to use your bottle because it gives that great consistency that glides through the hair very easily. And the activator or activating lotion, you can use it with the demi-permanent color and the toners. So let's talk about Wella Color Charm and the level and tone. So as you can see in this slide, the Wella Color Charm, you can read it by level and tone. Being the level, it's gonna be a number. So the first number indicates the level of the color based on how light or how dark is the color. For example, as we all know, a level 1 would be our darkest shade, and being the level 10, the lightest shade. And so right after the number, you see a letter, and the letter represents the tonal quality of the shades. In this case, the letter N stands for a natural tone. And so in this slide, as you can see here, we have the different tonal identifiers. So the N, as we know, it's for natural. The A, it's for ash. The G, it's for gold. The W, it's for warm. Oh. The R, it's for red. The C is for cool. And the V, it's for violet. Does anybody have any questions up to this point?
Hi, Louise. We have one of our attendees. She's very enthusiastic about using our products. I'm so happy to hear. She has a couple questions. I did tell her that we would get to them. One, just to keep in the back of your mind. One is, can you show how to mix a formula to lift from a level 5 to a pale blonde without bleach? And one of our other questions is, more of a comment was, I used 12C with 30 volume, but I think I need a toner afterwards. So this is actually, if you can maybe answer that question now, since we are on the tonal families. Her question was, I used a 12C with 30 volume, but I think I need a toner afterwards, which I know we'll get into, correct?
Yes, definitely, but that is a great question. Thank you so much. So typically, um, I am I'm assuming that you are going from dark to light when you're using a 30 volume and you're trying to use a cool shade because most likely you probably want to cancel unwanted warm tones. So that is a great way to lighten someone's hair in a safe way. It's doing what you did using, a nice, let's say a level 9 or 10 with 30 volume. And so, but what happens is that when we're lifting dark hair, it has more melanin in there. So therefore, what is going to be exposed most likely is the contributing pigments. And you are right. Maybe after lightening, you can go ahead and use a toning formula to cancel some of the unwanted warm tones or brassiness. Another way to get someone from dark to light is maybe using a lightener to get to the desired level, and then you can go ahead and tone. So a great tip would be, depending on how many levels of lift you're looking for, I would rather use liner. For example, and we're going to get into this right now. If you want to get more than 3 levels off lift, you probably want to use a high lift, and that gives you up to 5 levels of lift with 40 volume. But if you're trying to get to more of a pale blonde and the person is very dark, then I would suggest to use a lightener first and then tone. So I'm going to continue here really quickly, and I'll elaborate a little bit more when we talked about toners and high lift, okay? So the tonal families are divided into 5 tonal families, which are the naturals, the ash, the golds, the warms, and the reds. And so we have the permanent liquid color. And please let me know if you have any more doubts about that question. So the permanent color, the liquid color, gives you up to 100% gray coverage. It gives you up to 5 levels off lift. And there's a little star right next to that lift, and that is because you can only get up to 5 levels off lift when you use the, like the level 12s. And so, which is a high lift color. And so the liquid fuse technology gives you vibrant, long-lasting results, and we're going to get into the technology in a little bit. We have 60 plus intermixable shades, which is ideal for a bottle application. Also, the mixing ratio is a 1:2 mixing ratio. That means 1 part color, 2 parts developer. So it gives you great value. It's a great value mixing ratio, I would say. And so definitely the processing times is anywhere from 30 up to 45 minutes for resistant gray hair. Now for the permanent gel color, this one has a little bit more. For example, let me show you guys. So this has the liquid fuse technology has 1.4 ounces, and the gel has 2 ounces. All right. So that's the difference, obviously, in the technology, because the gel, it's a little bit more creamier, I would say, like a thicker consistency than the liquid. And that also is going to depend on what developer you use, because we have the cream developer and the liquid developer. So the gel fuse technology, it's for vibrant and long-lasting results. We have 40 plus intermixable shades. It's ideal for bowl and brush application. The mixing ratio, it's a 1:2 as well. And the processing time is anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes for resistant gray hair. Now the technology, the liquid fuse technology and the gel fuse technology, what it does is that it saturates, penetrates, and fuses that hair color in there for beautiful, vibrant, long-lasting results, fade-resistant results, and excellent gray coverage. And so it saturates the hair, and the color molecules combined with color activators form a gel that you can put exactly where you want it. It's going to stay where you apply it, and it saturates every strand of hair as you apply. Then it penetrates the hair shaft to deliver vibrant color molecules. That's when it's penetrating into the cortex of the hair, and then it fuses in there in the hair to make exceptionally fade resistant results, and then for vibrant, beautiful color. And so this is a shade chart that you can see here. Here you are looking around 60 different shades. As you can see at the top right hand side, the permanent liquid, it's dotted with kind of like a red little dot, and then the gel permanent colors are dotted with the gray one. But don't worry, guys, you can definitely get more information about this. I believe that Marlo is going to be providing some of this chart for you guys. And so now we are here with the high lift blonding that delivers beautiful clear blonde results with a variety of tones. It's best suited for on clients with natural level 6 or above. It's a 1 to 2 mixing ratio, which means 1 part color and 2 parts developer. And when we're using high lift blondes, when you choose to use a high lift blonde, most likely it's because you're trying to get the maximum amount of lift possible without using a lightener. And of course, as one of the amazing questions that you guys had, it was, when we're trying to go from dark to light, you're always going to see the contributing pigments exposed. So you may or may not have to tone afterwards. But the high lift blonde, you can process for up to 45 minutes. And we have the natural, the ash, and the golds. And you would choose the tonal family depending on the final result that you want to achieve, or how much warmth that hair it's going to have in there. So most likely we always want to use this on a level 6 because high lift gives you up to 5 levels of lift. And so this way, we're looking potentially that this person that's a level 6 is not going to have that much warmth in there in comparison with someone who is a natural level 2. And I hope that that makes sense.
Louise,
And yes.
before we go on, we do have a question from Hair by Milani. She wanted to know hi, is A blue and AA is blue blue? Does Wella have green to knock out orange?
Yes, if you want to knock out orange with Wella Color Charm, you can use our Ash series, and that will definitely help you knock out orange. Thank you so much for that question. That is a great question. And so when we're trying to get rid of orange, we're potentially looking at a level 6 or yellow orange level 7 around there. Remember that when you want to cancel these tones, if you're using, for example, a demi-permanent hair color, you might want to use either the same level, or so this way that it gives you the more powerful pigments to cancel those unwanted warm tones. For example, most likely when you have a lot of orange, it's most likely that you lift it up to a level 6. So if you want to calm that down as much as possible, you might want to use a 6A, for example, a 6 ash. And that will help to neutralize all of that. I hope that answered your question. And if not, please let me know. I am super excited to be here with you guys. So ask as many questions as you like and let us know. So the Wella Color Charm developers for permanent color, as I said earlier, we have the 20 volume and the 40 volume in cream. And you can use this with the liquid or the gel. It's ideal for bow and brush application. But if you want to use a bottle, you might want to go with the clear developer because it's more of a liquid consistency. As well, you can mix this or formulate it with the permanent liquid color and the gel color as well. So in terms of usage, the Wella Color Charm developers have 20 and 40 volume. So here's a chart that gives us a little bit more information. For example, if you want to create a 10 volume, which is ideal for someone who wants to go darker or wants to stay on the same shade or same depth, you want to mix the 20 volume equal parts with distilled water. And this would make a 10 volume. Now, if you want to make a 30 volume, you can mix equal parts of the 20 volume and the 40 volume, and that'll give you a 30 volume for up to 3 levels of lift. So if you're using a 10 volume, Definitely you're looking for the same depth, darker or minimal lift. If you're using a 20 volume, most likely you're going to get up to 2 levels of lift. And this one is great for someone who has gray hair, because 20 volume is perfect for gray coverage. The 30 volume would give you up to 3 levels of lift, and the 40 volume between 3 and 4 levels of lift. Now, the permanent liquid toners. Do we have any questions so far?
We do, Louise. Thank you so much. I'm learning so much. We also have a question coming in from Woody. He wants to know, is there a difference in coverage or opaqueness of the gel versus the liquid?
Actually, not. They're both equally vibrant. They equally cover gray up to 100%. But also, and they also give you the same longevity. They're fade resistant. So no, there's not a difference between the liquid and the gel. The only difference I would say that it's you as an artist, maybe you like a different texture when you're applying color. And I would say that that's the main difference. The main difference between these two is not going to be the end result, but most likely the consistency of the product. And as an independent hairstylist, we all have different likes. And so I think that they would both suit you very well. But depending on what technique you're doing, maybe the gel or the liquid would be better in terms of consistency for application purposes.
Awesome, Louise. We've got one other question, and I think it was pertaining to the slide before this when you were discussing developers. We have, thank you so much. We have Shauna who wants to know if you're covering up to 50% gray at the same level, can you use a 10 volume?
That is a great question. I would recommend for optimal gray coverage, I would recommend to use a 20 volume developer. And the reason why, I believe John, correct?
It
So
was
the
it
re-
was actually Shauna.
Okay, sorry about that. So the 20 volume, it's a developer. It's able to open that cuticle of the hair just enough so that those color molecules go deep into the cortex of the hair and provide 100% gray coverage. But then again, remember, guys, that this all depends on what level, right, of lightness or darkness you're trying to achieve. So let's say that you are trying to cover gray, but the person has a natural level two, and you're trying to cover gray at using a permanent color with a level two. I think that 10 volume would definitely work as well, and it will cover. But probably the 20 volume would give you a little bit more longevity in terms of that coverage. And I hope that this answered your question. But I've done it. I have used a level 2, a level 3 with 10 volume, and it looks amazing. It covers 100%, and you're not gonna have any problems. I'm that type of guy that wants to make sure that the cuticle opens up a little bit so that the color molecules go a little bit deeper in there, and I use a 20 volume. But what I would not recommend is that if you're trying to cover gray with a level 7 or lighter, to use a 10 volume. That I think it's not going to work. And I hope this enlightened you and answered your question. And if not, let us know. Anything else before we move on?
No, we had a follow-up question about a 10 volume for a client who has salt and pepper gray hair, wants a gray look. And I just recommended that they do use a 20 volume for the very purpose of the longevity of the color.
I agree, definitely. So the permanent liquid toners, from Wella Color Charm slightly lift while neutralizing warmth at the same time. So this means, guys, that the permanent liquid toners from Wella Color Charm can also be used as a to shift the base as well, if that makes sense. And so with a complete range of toners in three families, which as you can see here, it's ash, silver, and beige. It has a liquid consistency. You mix it in a 1:2 mixing ratio for an easy bottle application. And again, it's 1 part toner, 2 parts 20 volume developer, because these are permanent liquid toners. That's why we recommend using 20 volume. But it might not be the case all the time. As you guys know, and I already mentioned earlier, we also have the activating lotion, which is a lower than a 10 volume. And that also can be used maybe to tone some highlights and get rid of unwanted warm tones as well. So you apply it on clean towel dry hair, and you process up to 30 minutes or whenever um, the level of cancellation or toning is done. For example, when I'm toning some highlights, I usually mix my color and my permanent liquid toner in a 1:2 mixing ratio, and I apply it onto the hair, and then I check it every 5 minutes, because sometimes, since this is a permanent toner, sometimes in 15 minutes it's what I want, the final result that I want. And you can go ahead and rinse it, shampoo and condition, and it'll be great as well. So keep that in mind. The longer that you leave it on the hair, the more neutralizing and cancellation you're going to have as the minutes go by, if that makes sense. So for silver, we recommend to pre-lighten the hair. Let me see if I can get this. Oh, oh, there you go. All right. So, sorry about that. So we have the pre-lightened to yellow. We recommend to pre-lighten to yellow when you want a silvery tone, and then so forth and so on. Let me see if I can move this, because I cannot. Oh, there you go. Sorry about the technical difficulties. And so you want to pre-lighten the hair depending on what you want to achieve. And so here we go again, talking about, of course, enlighten you a little bit more about the developers, because it's very important that we understand. The cream or clear developer in 20 volume is going to give you a slight lift and a tonal deposit when you're using it with the permanent liquid toners. But as I said before, if you use the Wella Color Charm activating lotion, it's going to give you tonal depositing only. So this means that if you're trying to shift the base, for example, you might want to go with 20 volume instead of the activating lotion. And here we are with the additives. So Wella Color Charm also has the BP, which is the abbreviation of Blonding Plus. This provides an additional level of lift, and it's used with permanent formulas level 9 and lighter. So this is kind of like a product that I love, because it gives me that extra push when I want to have a little bit more brightness in there. Remember, guys, that you're going to want to use this when you're using a level 9 or lighter. And it's a 1:1 mixing ratio, which means 1 part color plus 1 part BP plus 4 parts developer. And so it says mixing ratio 1 to 1 because it's in the color, the 1 part color and 1 part blending plus. But the developer is going to be double the developer. That's why it says 4 parts developer. And I hope that's clear. And so we also have the cooling violet, which is, and it's also in the little box. You're gonna see, as you can see there on your right hand side, that says 050. That is the cooling violet. It reduces unwanted warm tones, and it adds. You can add it to your permanent formulas. And so what this is going to do is that it's going to help cancel those unwanted warm tones, and it's going to give you a more of an intense cancellation performance. And so the mixing ratio, it's 2 to 4 capfuls per application. For example, I have used this when I am using, for example, a high lift blonde. And I wanted to have, because as we talked earlier, when we're going lighter, you're always going to see those contributing pigments, especially if the person has dark hair. So this is gonna reinsure to maintain those canceled. For example, when I use a 1 whole box of the liquid color, I most likely want to add, for example, two full caps. And when I mean caps, is the cap of the bottle. So this, a pro tip would be, if you're doing a level 9, 10, or like a high lift, which is a 12, you may want to use 2 capfuls. But if the person is going to, for example, like a level 6, which is a dark blonde, usually the level 6, it pulls a lot of warmth. But or at least I have a lot of clients that have dark hair, and they're like, I want brown, a light brown, which they really mean a dark blonde, but I don't want it to be brassy. So in that case, if it's a level 6 or under a level 6, you can use up to 4 caps because that's going to give you more cancellation. So think of it as, if I put 2 caps on a white paper, it's going to give me a soft cancellation, because a level 12 or a level 9, it's a very light color. So you can see that violet pigment. If you put 4 caps, you would see more of a lavendery in there. And I hope that makes sense. And not, please ask more questions, guys, to elaborate. But what I mean is that the lighter the color, the less caps you'll need, capfuls you'll need. And then the darker the color, then you're more free to add more of the cooling violet to cancel unwanted warm tones.
We did have one quick question from Shauna. It's actually a great question because I can see where her thought process is coming in. She wanted to know if, on the slide before this one, if you can add that to lightener. I guess kind of like a lift and tone in one is what she's looking at.
Oh my God, it's a great analogy, and I exactly see where you're coming from. So we do not recommend to add this to your lightener. And the reason why is because when you use lightener, I know that, of course, we're trying to go light, and I know that you want to go light and have that cancellation in there. That makes a great thought process. But this is more to add it to the permanent color, or even the demi-permanent color, in terms of, to cancel a little more. But most likely, I would recommend to use the cooling violet with permanent color. All right. Thank you so much. That's a great question. Any more questions up to this point about the Wella Color Charm hair color line?
No, no, but Shauna did want to respond saying, what a bummer. That would have been fun. So I totally agree.
I know. And listen, I am recommending, of course, the manufacturer's guidelines, but as we all know, we're all artist, and sometimes we break the rules. I encourage you to maybe, if you like, use it on a mannequin head and see what's up, and maybe you can get back to us and enlighten us about what that result was. All right. Thank you so much for interacting with us, guys. I appreciate it. So now, finally, we're going to go into this comparison chart from Wella to Cadus. And so, how many of you guys um, are using Cadus right now? Is there a lot of people using Cadus right now here in the class? Let me go to the chat box really quickly. Oh, see, Shauna, I see. She says, will do. Yes, I agree. Okay, so Casey says that yes, she is using Cadus. Perfect, Casey. So this is going to be very valuable information for you and everyone else who is using Cadus. So I was able to have some fun with some mannequin heads, and I put this comparison chart to the test, and I'm going to be sharing with all of you the results here live. But before we do that, let me go ahead and go to the next slide. Okay, so now, as you all know, we're talking Cadus to Wella Color Charm, specifically permanent color. All right, let me get this out of the way so I can see a little better here. And so Cadus Professional will always be remembered. For those of you who are asking, what happened to Cadus? Unfortunately, Cadus is not going to be in the market anymore. It's not that Marlo, it's not going to have it anymore, or anybody, Cadus is going out of it's going out, so no one will have it. You can still purchase Kados from Marlo until supplies last. All right. And so once that is all sold out, we're unfortunately not going to have Cadus anymore, but we will always remember Cadus Professional for helping stylists how to work smarter, not harder. I was a part of the Cadus design team, and I am super sad as well that they're going. But don't worry, Wella Color Charm has your back, and I do too. So you can always reach out to me to ask me questions. So this comparison chart, it's going to guide you and help you to transition your clients from Cadus to Wella Color Charm, and you'll be able to identify which of your favorite Cadus shades may be applied to achieve similar color results to the brands you may be currently using or changing to today. Remember, guys, that color results depend on the base of the virgin hair, the hair quality, and the pre-existing coloration on the hair. Each color brand is unique, and color results may vary when changing suppliers. So this tool serves you as a direction to support you. And every color brand, as we all know, has its characters. So therefore, we're going to expect or have minimal color shade deviations from one brand to another, but you will be surprised. I put it to the test, and I have a few here, and you're going to be able to see what's happening. So as you can see right here, we have the Cadus shades that you may currently have in your salon or studio. And so right next to it, we have the Wella Color Charm comparison color or shade matching. And so in this chart specifically, I went in and I put it to the test with the 10A. So I'm going to share with you, let me get this one out of the way. I'm going to share with you a mannequin head. Over here. I'm going to share with you a mannequin head, and you're not going to believe. Let me see. Can you guys see that? Yes? Let me see if I can maybe move this a little bit there, and maybe you can see that a little better. There we go. So you see this beautiful model here. This is Sandy. A mannequin has that it comes with a warm level 9 with all of the brassiness that a level 9 comes, and it's so hard to cancel. So what I did with this beautiful model is that I put on on my right hand side, I don't know if it looks like that over there because you know when you turn the cameras around. So, but on my right hand side, I put Cadus color on the shade 10A, which means a level 10 with an ash tone, which is kind of like a green undertone, if that makes sense. And so I did it right in the middle. So I put the 10A from Cadus on this side and the 10A from Wella Color Charms. And let me show you those little boxes. So I use this one on this side. And this is the 10A by Cadus Professionals. And on the left hand side, my left, which is this side, I put the 10A from Wella Color Charm, and in this case, I use the gel formula. Alrighty. Let me take that. And so I use these two, and can you see any difference? Because to tell you the truth, I really don't see any difference. Let me see what's going on in the chat. Let me see what you guys. And listen, guys, you can always come off mute. If any one of you want to come off mute now, you can. If you want to talk to me a little bit about this. So I mix this. The Cadus formula, if you're using it, as you know, it looks the same to me. No difference. And I agree, guys. Oh my God. It really doesn't have any difference. If you look at it in person, I would say that actually the Wella Color Charm canceled a little bit more. I know that in the camera you see it perfect, and over here it looks perfect as well, but there's slightly that you can't even tell a slightly difference, and I would say that it's a benefit for Wella Color Charm because it really cancel all of those unwanted warm tones. I only did the front because I want to share with you the back so that you see how much it canceled, okay? But yes, so I mixed the Cadus Professional color. You mix it in a 1-to-1 mixing ratio, and I used 20 volume. And so, because this one is a 1-to-1 mixing ratio, so you only get 4 ounces out of this tube. With the Wella Color Charm, because it gives you more for your money. You do a 1-to-2 mixing ratio, so you're able to get a total of 6 ounces when you're using the gel color, which it gives you either for 2 root touch-ups or a whole, like a long mane, well, medium. So I mixed the 10A from the Wella Color Charm gel technology, gel color, in a 1-to-2 mixing ratio with 20 volume as well. I let it process for only 30 minutes, and this is the final result, okay? So it looks really good. Let me share with you the back. So look how warm that hair comes. This is the mannequin's natural hair. Of course, they pre-lighten it when they send it to us. So this is a really warm level 9. And look how much cancellation it had. This is the Cadus side. Let's show the Wella Color Charm. Look at that. Look at that, guys. It really canceled a lot of that warmth. So this is like a great tip and trick maybe for the person who had that problem, that situation that was a little bit warm. You can always go ahead and use the 10A and cancel all of that, you know?
Louise,
Yes.
Great mannequin. I love the differences, although it's so slight. I love that. We did have a question come in, and it was just, I think it's personal preference is the answer, but wanted to know why did you choose gel over liquid?
Well, the only reason why I chose gel, it's because I have other mannequins where I use the liquid, and I just wanted to give you guys the variety. That's the only reason. But to tell you the truth, you can use it liquid or gel, and it's going to give you the same results. I promise, guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yes, you're welcome. So we're gonna go ahead on to the next slide. This this is going to be shared with you guys. The comparison chart is going to be shared with you guys. So
I
don't.
put it in the chat box.
Oh yeah, perfect. So you don't have to take pictures or any of that. And now I'm just gonna go ahead and go to the next slide, which again, this is an extension, right, with more colors from Cadis that me and a group of artists worked into doing this for you guys. And I want to explain a little bit more on this one here because this one, as you can see in the chart, it has a lot of them that have two shades. And so, for those of you who are wondering, most likely when you see two shades in the comparison chart, that means that we're going to mix it on equal parts of the two shades with two parts developer. And that should give you the similar results as you saw, and you will continue to see, because from this chart here, let me see which one did I chose. I did, let me see here, so I did the 6CG, and in the comparison chart you can see that to recreate the 6CG by Cadis, we are going to use the 5RG from Wella Color Charm. And so let me bring that model out so that I can share it with you guys. And so that one is this one right here. This model right here. Let me see if it's on camera. Yes, it's on camera. This model right here, same thing. My left hand side, it's going to be Wella Color Charm on the shade 5RG. And on the right hand side, I use the Cadence Professional on the CG. Again, I use 20 volume, 1-to-1 mixing ratio, because that's how this color line is supposed to be mixed. And then 1-to-2 mixing ratio with 20 volume with the Wella Color Charm. And look at the final results. Do you see any difference there on camera? Because I sure do not see any difference here live, or in person I should say. And so I applied it from root to ends. I let it process for 30 minutes only. And now I want to share with you the back. This is the level that I applied this color on. Okay, I would say that this was kind of like a level 7. It was a level 7, a warm level 7, and we went in there and we tried to get a little bit of that nice copper gold or red gold tone to it, and it looks amazing. The hair feels super soft in both sides, and it gives you lots of shine. I would say, guys, if you ask me differences between these two, I would say that Kata's Professional was more of a cream color and cream developer. So it gave you more of a thicker consistency, creamy consistency, but thicker. And so in my opinion, a little bit not hard to work with, but I rather make finer sections when I'm using Cadis, or when I was using Cadis. And then with the Wella Color Charm, this one I used the gel as well. No particular preferences. This is actually what I have in my color card. So that's why I use this one in gel formula as well. But I love it because it's more obviously a gel-like consistency. It glides through the hair so easily, so effortless. I am in love. I really, really love using this because it makes my job like a lot quicker as well. And so that one, that is that. I see that we have some comments in the chat. Let me use. Okay. Oh, perfect. They're talking about phones and computer. Maybe they're trying to get the chart. Alrighty. So next up, do we have any questions?
We don't, Louise. I'm just navigating Shauna. Poor thing, she's on her cell phone, so I'm sure it's showing up smaller, and she wanted to see the slide bigger. So I think, Shauna, if you just tap on the main screen, it should switch. So hopefully that works. And a couple people are asking if I can email the chart. I'm going to put the chart in the chat box one more time. And then there's three little dots that you can just simply download it from your computer. So you always have it with you. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Elsa, for all that helpful information and for helping me to help everyone here in the class. You are amazing. And so here we have another example. With this one, I did use the gel color. And this was, if we look at the comparison chart on the screen, we use the 6B, which is a level 6, which is a dark blonde tone. And this is the 6B, which gives you, the 6B in Cadus was a level 6, B for kind of like a brown. And so with Wella Color Charm, I use the 6W, which is also a dark blonde with a warm and brown tone to it. And here is the final results. Again, 20 volume, apply from root to ends, process for 30 minutes. And this is the final results. So it looks super, super similar, guys. I would say here is the tone that I applied it. So she was kind of like a little bit lighter. She was still a level 6 essentially, but a lot warmer. And then this 6W, oh my goodness, it gave her that beautiful chocolatey blonde. And you can't even tell the difference between which side is Cadis and which side it's Wella Color Charm. So I do not think you're gonna have any issues if you follow this. And remember, guys, that this is just a comparison chart to support you. It's kind of like to guide you. You are more than welcome to make it more perfect. You know, you can make your own formulas to kind of like mimic Kata's color. Now I have a pro tip, guys. A pro tip would be when you're transitioning your clients from Kata's to Wella Color Charm. Sorry about that. Let's say that you're doing a root touch up. I would definitely go for the first time when you're first time transitioning, and I would do an all over color. When you're converting them from the first time, I would always recommend to do an all over color, you know, to kind of like give it a nice, even, perfect tone from root to ends, and they're really not gonna notice the difference. So I hope that that tip would help you transition your clients from Cadis to Wella. All right. And so I also want to share really quickly, I'm going to share other colors that I use. This is not a side by side. This is just a mannequin that I have worked on before. And with this one, I use the 5RB, which is a light brown with a red violet tone to it. And I had made some highlights and then toned them or kind of like enhance them with the 6RB. And this is the final results. As you can see, it's nice, beautiful, multi-dimensional. And it gives you that nice vibrancy, you know. I wanted to share that with you, and I also wanted to share one more because I just want to give you variety and I want you to see how many different vibrant shades you can get. Not only the blondes, but the browns, but the violets and even the red copper. So this is the 7R by itself. I did some highlights here, and for the highlights, I used the Wella Color Charm Paints, which is a fashion color on kind of like a yellow shade tone. But this is the 7R by itself. So as you can see, you have a lot of variety that you can use with Wella Color Charm, and that you are able to create new colors and do fun stuff with your clients.
Louise, before you say goodbye to the that copper and then the redhead before, Casey does have a concern about finding vibrant reds. I hope, Casey, you were watching the last two mannequins. But Louise, can you just touch on maybe some tips and tricks on how to maintain that bright red color?
Oh my goodness, yes. A tip and trick actually would be my next slide. Let's just go over there right now. My tip and trick for maintaining the reds. First up would be using our demi-permanent shades. We also have, for example, if you want to maintain this vibrant red tone, red violet tone, you can easily do your client's root touch-up and then add on a nice glossing service in there, and you could use the 6RB. It's going to give it lots of shines. It's going to enhance that red violet tone, and it's going to give it a lot of longevity. The demi permanent color from Wella Color Charm, it's a great color to tone highlights or to refresh reds or blondes or browns, any color. It's great to do low lights. This one you mix it in a 1:2 mixing ratio with its activating lotion, and you can leave it onto the hair up to 20 minutes or whenever the desired shade is achieved. So they are super, super, super great. I love these. So that would be a great tip. Another great tip that I can give you when you're working with reds is that a common mistake that I see when I'm traveling around North America teaching other amazing stylists and colleagues is that a lot of them try to or do pre-lighten the hair up to levels 9s and 10. And in my opinion, that is a mistake, my humble opinion, because the reds, they live better. If you're gonna pre-lighten to apply a red, I recommend to pre-lighten all the way up to a level 7, not any more than that, because that is still going to have those contributing pigments in there, which are the yellow orange and the orange, which is a great base to apply a red shade tone. And that is going to give your client more longevity and more vibrancy when they're wearing the reds. Okay, so that is a great tip that I love to share. And you may or may not know it, but it is a great tip to know. All right. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, I love that. Actually, I just learned that because I do bleach out my hair as light as it can go, and I know that the reds don't stay as long as they should be. So thank you for that tip, Louise. Um, we also have, I believe the name is Funk. She said, I use Wella Color Charm on most of my clients, and they can't tell between this and Redken brand. The difference would be Redken charges at least more than double. That is a great testimony. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And we also
Yes.
have a hand raised. We've got, let's see,
Joyce, I believe. Did I
Joyce
see?
has her hand raised. Yeah, Joyce, did you want to come off mute and ask your question? Oh, okay.
All righty. Well, guys, I it's already 2 o'clock, and I don't want to take so more of your time because this was supposed to be an hour, and we are right there on that. But I just want to remind you all to go to the Wella app and follow us the Wella Color Charm Instagram page as well, because in the Wella app you can find educational videos, knowledge library. they have a nice link that it's called Ask the Expert, and you could get answers really, really quickly. So that's a great way to find more information. You can also find us on YouTube at the Wella Color Charm. You'll find videos, tutorials, all you need to know about us. You might see me there doing a little tutorial. So that's great. And so you can also follow us on Instagram at Wella Color Charm and show us your work with the hashtag Wella Color Charm.